Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana. A group of Mau Mau veterans have moved to court seeking for the removal of William Ruto as the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. And the reason they are giving out is that William Ruto has absconded duty. And that's a very interesting political development. Because William Ruto's close allies on the mountain, the likes of Ndindinyoro, have actually been branding themselves sons of Mau Mau. So it's actually ironical that now that Mau Mau is going to court seeking for the removal of William Ruto. Before we dig deep into that analysis, I want us to listen to this group, for that's going to form the basis of our analysis and discussion right now. Listen into this.
Hiyo order ambayo ilitolewa ndio mpaka dakika hii inajulikana kama katiba. Kwa hivyo tunataka sisi tukiwa Mau Mau, we have suffered a great loss and damage since 63 kwa sababu sisi tumetengwa na order. Hiyo order ambayo inajulikana kama the Kenya Independent Order in Council ambayo ilipeanwa tarehe 4 na ikaanza kufanya kazi before 12 December 1970. So the agreement or the act which was set or given by the Parliament of the United Kingdom on 3rd December 63 was set aside. Hii order ile inajulikana kama status quo, tuendelee vile tu ilikuwa. Kwa hivyo tunataka Mungu atusaidie tukuje hapa kotini tupewe haki yetu, na kabla ya mambo yote tunataka kuona Daktari William Samoei Ruto ambaye ni deputy president akanyage ije hii nchi. Tutakubali haribiwa? Watu wanasema wanataka kuongoza na bado wanafuja sheria. Kwa hivyo tungetaka mtu asiye sheria, alisema hapangangwi, atapangwa na katiba. Katiba iko ambao tayari amefuja, na kesi tayari imekuwa fixed on 28 April.
Yes. What does that mean politically? That's what I want us to find out in this video. In case you've bumped here for the very first time, kindly subscribe, give this video a like. There are two meanings to that, and I'm going to explain them in details. The first meaning, that move by those Mau Mau veterans dismantles William Ruto's hustler versus dynasty narrative on the mountain. And then the second meaning, it shows and exposes the high-stakes politics on the mountain. So let's start with the first one. Yes. If you look at the objective, why William Ruto came up with the hustler dynasty talk, William Ruto was cleverly exploiting the economic disparity amongst Kenyans for his own political gain. And if you can narrow that down on the mountain, William Ruto, I know he might have read some history books, and he knows that before independence, there existed some camps in the Kikuyu nation. We had the Mau Mau, and then we had the Home Guards. The Home Guards were the ones who were collaborating with the colonial masters. And it's also believed that the Home Guards were receiving some kind of preferential treatments from the colonial masters, while the Mau Mau were largely being ignored. So as time went by, a majority of the Home Guards and their families actually ended up being successful, while the Mau Mau and their families, they ended up being very poor. So William Ruto, I know, has cleverly been using that on the mountain, in this case through Ndindinyoro, to actually incite the poor Kikuyu nation against the rich. And in this case, the rich is being seen as President Uhuru Kenyatta and those leaders supporting Raila Amolo Odinga. That's a clever move William Ruto was actually using on the mountain. And then also, if you look at William Ruto, if keenly you look at William Ruto, yes, and if you keenly look at William Ruto could have really hoped for this team of Mau Mau to actually endorse his presidential bid. But now that they are calling for his removal as a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, that's a very big blow to William Ruto. That's a blow to William Ruto's narrative of Hustler dynasty on the mountain. So from where I sit, I know William Ruto is sleeping a very sad and a very angry man just as a result of that. The second meaning of that move by those Mau Mau veterans to actually call for William Ruto's removal, it shows and exposes high-stake politics on the mountain. Each political camp is trying to who is who on the mountain to their political camp. And largely, if you look at it objectively, Uhuru Kenyatta's camp of Azimio is actually succeeding in beating William Ruto in that. In the recent days, we have been seeing some major defections from William Ruto's camp to Azimio. Just yesterday, about 1 day ago, we saw over 50 ODA coordinators in Kirinyaga actually dumping William Ruto for Azimio. And these were the leaders, opinion shapers on the ground who are actually marketing and campaigning for William Ruto in Kirinyaga. And also some weeks, or rather some days ago again, we saw also Kiraitu Murungi actually joining Raila Amolo Odinga. And then likely we have also been seeing of some major defections from William Ruto's camp to Azimio. All these are just indications of the high-stake politics in that area. And now that this team of Mau Mau veterans are now calling for William Ruto's removal, that's also not a light thing. That speaks a lot. Because now, William Ruto's main narrative, or rather objective of the mountain, on the mountain, he has been projecting himself as a hustler. William Ruto wanted to incite the poor Kikuyu nation against Uhuru Kenyatta, against the Azimio team, against the largely successful Kikuyu nation. But now that this Mau Mau, who William Ruto has been trying to use Ndirinyoro to brand himself as a son of Mau Mau or as a descendant of Mau Mau, are now also just coming out to disown William Ruto. All those are just indications that William Ruto is actually losing this war on the mountain in terms of influencing those who matter. Because now again, we saw some weeks back, the business community, top business leaders from the gamer community actually endorsing Raila Amolo Odinga. And that actually killed a narrative I knew William Ruto was going to use. William Ruto wanted to perpetuate a narrative that all along has been used against Raila, that if Raila ascends to the presidency, then he was going to kill Kikuyu businesses. But upon the business community actually endorsing Raila Amolo Odinga, that just killed that narrative William Ruto and his team wanted to use against Raila. In the event that business community could have not endorsed Raila Odinga, William Ruto could have effectively used that against Raila Amolo Odinga, because that's what we have been seeing being used before against Raila Amolo Odinga. And now that this Mau Mau have also endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga, now the Nyoro's narrative that is actually a son of Mau Mau, a descendant of Mau Mau, it was actually gaining some traction in terms of inciting the poor Kikuyus against the successful Kikuyus. But now with this incident of today, that also just kills that narrative William Ruto wanted to use on the mountain. Because now Kenyans will now ask, in the event he continues to perpetuate that narrative, he will now be asked a simple question. We saw the Mau Mau, the real war veterans, who actually were on the war front, coming out to denounce you. Who is now this Nyoro, who was not even there, who is just reading that from the history books? Who is it now to tell us that he's actually a son of a Mau Mau? And you know we are in a game of politics, ladies and gentlemen. Politics is also laced with a lot of propaganda and a lot of lies. William Ruto, and I've always maintained in this YouTube channel, William Ruto is a very good student of Niccolo Machiavelli. William Ruto strongly believes that politics has to be dirty. And I'm saying that without taking sides at all. Look at William Ruto's brand of politics. Look at his foot soldiers, those who are supporting William Ruto. Largely their politics is based on the aspect of politics being dirty. Just some few days ago, Moses Kuria actually talked about an oath. And you know, this is the same team that have been branding themselves as Christians. And they've been telling us that the likes of Raila and Waganga. So if you look at Moses Kuria bringing the idea of an oath again, that was an ungodly oath. But now he wants to actually panel beat all Kikuyus into believing in that oath. And the same team again have been projecting themselves as God-fearing. So again, it just exposes the kind of hypocrisy, the doublespeak in William Ruto's camp. There seems to be a very big confusion in William Ruto's camp. Things are actually falling apart, and they're not just getting their bearing politically as August election approaches. That's what I can see and read from all these things, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, just as I did state when we were starting, in case you've bumped here for the very first time, and so far you have not yet subscribed, kindly subscribe, give this video a like. Any other person watching us outside Kenya for the very first time, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are actually watching us from. God bless you. God bless Kenya.